Stay with me for the next few minutes while I talk about positive organisational behaviour. Positive organisational behaviour is a relatively new area that's emerged over the last 10 years. It developed out of the positive psychology movement that was spearheaded by people like Martin Seligman, who is the president of the American Psychological Association. He promoted a more positive aspect of human health instead of the focus on negativity around depression and anxiety. He was trying to shift the focus more upon what could create more fulfilling lives for individuals. In terms of positive organisational behaviour, people like Fred Lufens from Nebraska University went to many conferences around positive psychology around the year 2000. And what he took from that is that there was a need to introduce similar concepts within organisational behaviour. In 2002, he introduced the concept of POB, or positive organisational behaviour, which he felt that could make a contribution. One of the things he was clear about saying is that many of the concepts that are covered under positive organisational behaviour, they're not new, but the emphasis has tended to be more around negative aspects. So he tried to shift that focus away to what is it that creates a great workplace? What is it that creates a workplace where people want to work or are engaged in activities? Or a workplace that holds on to individuals. So he wanted to focus that as the main area for organisational behaviour. A key factor about positive organisational behaviour is, and the same for positive psychology, is it's not about just individuals' perceptions or ideas. It's not about the views of a guru or the latest book on the shelf that relates to popular psychology. It is an evidence-based science. Also, there must be measures that have been developed which are scientifically sound, that have been validated, and they're also reliable instruments as well. And probably the most challenging aspect is around making sure that it has an impact in organisations, because ultimately this is not just about making a more positive experience for individuals, but it's also to buy in organisations to say, by creating a more positive environment, that you also create more engaged and productive individuals that produce better outcomes for organisations and improve customer relations. Just to give two brief examples of positive organisational behaviour, work engagement, particularly the work of people such as Wilma Shefeli in Utrecht University, who has spent the last decade developing tools around work engagement and their application both within the workplace and within the education sector as well. They're highly validated tools, and we're starting to see a lot of the emergence of evidence to support the benefits of promoting an environment where employees are engaged. Work engagement is a concept that is the flip side of burnout, that would have been developed by Christina Maslach in the 1980s and the 1990s. So this was the polar opposite. There is some debate around that issue, but generally speaking, that's the way it's currently being perceived. Christine Maslach, in a presentation in Poland 2 years ago, gave us an idea in terms of the positivity of burnout that is often put forward. And she argues that burnout can be a signal to an individual, perhaps they need to consider moving on. Perhaps there's an issue and that it's actually feedback for the individual. Another example of positive organisational behaviour is drawn upon the work of Lufens, who came up with the idea of psychological capital. He jointly worked with Avolio and Youssef in developing this concept that draws on previously established concepts around hope, optimism, resilience and confidence. What Lufens and colleagues would argue is that those four elements come together to build something much more than just the sum. So there's a coming together of the three components to build something called psychological capital. And within that, similar to other types of capital, financial capital, money in your pocket, which you can draw from the bank, or it could be a human capital, which is the resources that are around you, or social capital, which is referred to as networking, where you can draw resources from as well. Psychological capital works in tandem with those other elements to produce a more resilient workforce and a more resilient organisation. I hope that you found the presentation interesting. Why not click on to the next clip for more information? 1 minute